Good morning, students. I welcome you all once again for software testing class. So we'll be starting unit number 3, that is static testing techniques. So before discussing static testing techniques, so we'll just go through what are the things you discussed in the previous 2 units. Just the highlights of the previous 2 units we'll discuss. I just listed introduction. Unit number 1 was introduction. Yes, so that was first chapter. So you discussed about power of software, challenges in software projects, and software fiascos. So there were 5 software fiascos. That was Arine 5 we have discussed, Patriot missile, Mars Pathfinder, City Scanner, the Great Bank Robbery, and FBI virtual case file. That were the topics what we discussed in the software fiascos. That is fine. Next topic was what were the reasons for software failure? Yes, what were the reasons for software failure? Yes, that is what we discussed. What is the solution? In that we discuss about software quality assurance, software testing, code of ethics. And the next topic was software testing professionals, skill sets for testing professionals, and task handled by testing professionals. So these were the topics what we discussed in the unit number 1, that is introduction. So unit number 1 also had another chapter, that is we discussed about fundamentals of testing. So in fundamentals of testing, so we have seen what is testing. So under that we discussed comparison between testing versus debugging, testing and debugging, verification and validation, and root cause analysis. It's fine. That is what we discussed. Second topic was significance of testing. Under that we discussed cost of quality. Next topic was psychology of testing, testing choices. Yes, testing choices we had. There in-house testing and outsourcing. Who does the testing? Developers as testers, independent testing team, and buddy testing. Yes. Then we discuss about testing phases, V model, testing and life cycle models. Testing the system, testing strategies. That what do you mean by static testing, dynamic testing, why testing is difficult, and test case, test oracle, test software, manual versus automated testing, testing software of different technologies. That is what we have discussed. That's fine. It's fine. Next, metrics in testing phase. When is testing complete? Criteria for completion of testing, risk-based testing, and types of risks, and the myths and realities of testing. So these were the topics what we discussed in unit number 1. So unit number 1 had got 2 topics, introduction and fundamentals of testing. Yes, that is what we have completed. Yes. Next is unit number 2. We have discussed about testing levels and types, what we call that. Yes. What different testing levels and types. Testing levels, we discuss about unit or component testing, module testing, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. Then testing approaches, static testing versus dynamic testing, positive testing versus negative testing, top-down testing versus bottom-up testing, functional testing versus structural testing, mutation testing, confirmation testing, and regression testing. So these were the different approaches what we have discussed. Yes, fine. Next we discuss the types of testing. Then the different types what we discuss are smoke testing, black box testing, white box testing, interface testing, use case testing, gorilla testing, yes, alpha testing, beta testing, field trial or operational testing, performance testing or load testing, stress testing, accessibility testing, conformance testing, internationalization testing, security testing, maintenance testing, acceptance testing, and documentation testing. So these were the topics what we discussed in the previous 2 units, unit number 1 and unit number 2. Yes. Yes, unit number 1 and unit number 2. So that is what we have discussed so far. Now we'll be discussing about what you can call unit number 3, that is exclusive about static testing techniques we need to discuss. Unit number 3 is static testing techniques, and unit 4 is dynamic testing techniques, and unit 5 is managing the testing process, and unit 6 is software testing tools and code of ethics for software professionals. So these are the 6 units available in your software testing subject. So we have already completed 2 units. So today we'll be starting with unit number 3, that is static testing techniques. We're going to discuss about static testing techniques. So what are various techniques and so on. That's fine. We'll go through it. It's fine. Yes. So we'll be discussing about static testing and advantages of static testing. That's fine. That is what we're going to discuss. Then we'll discuss manual reviews. Yes, before that. So these are the three topics we'll be discussing today. Yes, static testing, what are the advantages, and manual reviews. Then it's fine. So testing. So we classify into two types, as you have know that. So can somebody tell me what is static testing? Yes. What do you mean by static testing? Somebody define. Somebody define static testing.
Static testing, the code is checked without executing. It is also known as desk checking.
Yeah, static testing is a testing where we do not, without executing the code, we test it. We call that as a static testing. Then what is dynamic testing? What is dynamic testing?
Testing the code by executing.
Yeah, when we execute the code and test it, we call that as a dynamic testing, what you can call this. Fine. So these are the two types. Again, in each testing, dynamic testing, we identify the functional requirements and as well as non-functional requirements. So functional requirement is nothing but the main, what is the purpose of the software, we identify, that is what we call functional requirements, whereas non-functional requirement like performance, throughput, security, and so on. So whichever are related to that particular project or what you call product, we may test those non-functional requirements. That is what we have discussed in the previous classes. So basically we classify testing into two types, that is static and dynamic testing, where static testing is a technique where we, without executing the code, we test manually, we test the code. What we call that as a, what you call static testing there. So when you execute the code and we do testing, we call that as a dynamic testing there. Yes. So you have seen in the previous classes also that static testing. So if like in the dynamic testing, if any code is left out, we cannot identify with the help of dynamic testing. But in when we are checking manually, suppose if some part of the code is left out, we can identify, or some part of the what you can call a concept is not implemented, we can identify with the help of static testing. But in dynamic testing, whatever the code you have written, only those things are executed there. If something is left out, the dynamic code will not tell you. But in static testing, if any part of the program which is not written or which is not designed or something, that can be identified in the case of static testing. Yes, fine. That is what we discussed. Fine. Next. So we'll see what do you mean by static testing techniques. Static testing techniques summarize various methods that do not execute the component or the system that is being tested. What we do? So as we have discussed, so without executing the program, we test it. That is what we call static testing. So technique summarizes various methods that do not execute the component or the system that is being tested. Without executing the program, we test it. We call that as what we call static technique. So what are the various methods there? So we review it. Yes, we review. Review is nothing but checking it manually. Manual activity. Yes, we check it manually whether what you call you written the program or design the program or correct or not. Reviewing, that is what you call manual activity. And static analysis. So some tools are also available to check whether all the program is written properly or not. There are some tools also are available. We can use what you can call those tools also. We call those tools as the static analysis tools. Yes. Next, static testing techniques complement dynamic testing methods. What is this? So how it is better, or what is the difference you can call that? Static testing find causes of failure rather than the failure there. So what does the dynamic testing will tell you? That there is error in line number 10. That's all. What is the reason for error? The dynamic testing will not tell. Whereas static testing will tell you what is the reason for a failure in a particular line or a particular program, that causes of failure. What is the reason? Syntax may be wrong, or logic may be wrong, or suppose your concept itself may be wrong there. That's what we call. And here concepts are inspected as well, not only executable code there. So we don't check only the code, we also check the concept or the logic, what you can call. What the logic you have written is correct or not, we also going to check it here. Then defects or deviations are found in early phase before they are implemented in the code. So one more thing is important here. What is the advantage here? We can say that the defects or bugs are identified before the implementation. So before writing the code, we check the things here. That is in the case of static testing. There. Yes. So what you call the advantage here is that if some part of the code is left out, that can be written there. So before implementation, we what you call any defects or any part or deviations are found in the early phase. Static testing might find defects not found in dynamic testing. So whatever the bugs that can be found out with static testing cannot be found out with dynamic testing. Concept, missing of the concept or defects or anything that cannot be identified in the dynamic testing. So dynamic testing will identify the bugs only in the particular code what you can call. Yes, that is what. Yes, fine. Somebody go through this.
Static testing techniques summarize various methods that do not execute the component or the system that is being tested. Static testing include review, manual activity, static analysis, mostly tool-based activity. Static testing techniques complement dynamic test methods. Static testing find causes of failures or defects rather than failures. Concepts are inspected as well. Not only executable code, defects, deviations are found in an earlier phase before they are implemented in the code. Static testing might find defects not found in dynamic testing.
With the defects or errors which cannot be found in dynamic testing, those can be found out in the static testing. The concepts which are missing or what you call some defects or some deviation, something can be there. Yes, that can be identified in the case of static testing. Yes, fine. Yes, next advantage. High quality documents lead to high quality or quality product protocol. So the documents are of high quality, then definitely the software will also be of a high quality, even if the reviewed specification do not contain any errors. So when what you can call, when you go through the check the program or check the code, if there are no errors, then definitely also code will also be very good, high quality, what you can call. Interpreting the specification and creating the design could be faulty there. Yes, suppose if there are any errors or if there are no errors, what you can call the quality will be very high. But sometime what happens while interpreting or while designing, the concept is right, while implementing it may be wrong or something mistake he might have understood in a different way. So while interpreting, the design may be some faulty. Yes, sometimes it happens, but usually it will not happen, but sometimes it happens that. So whatever the interpretation is that we may try to interpret in a wrong way, or we may understand it, but with the logic we might have written the wrong logic, what you can call. Yes, so the quality document should be, or high quality documents will definitely have a high quality product, even if the reviewed specification do not contain any error. If the document which is checked, review is nothing but check, what you can call. Yes, then sometime interpreting the specification and creating the design could be faulty. Sometime when we are designing, the design may be wrong. Sometime it happens. Yes, go through this.
High quality documents lead to high qualified product.
Continue.
Even if the reviewed specifications do not contain any error, interpreting the specification and creating the design could be faulty.
Yes, fine. That is, these are some of the what you can call concepts about what you call static techniques. Yes, what do you mean by static techniques? Is what is we are going to do, how it is being tested, and those are the things what we have discussed there. Next, we are discussing some more advantages exclusive to static testing. What are the advantages of static testing there? Static testing is done to find defects during the entire development life cycle. Yes, so not only during testing, so static testing has to be done in every phase. Which are the different phases? Requirement analysis phase, design phase, implementation phase, and testing phase. So static testing has to be done at every phase of the project. Yes, or life cycle, the software development life cycle. So if you do at the end, then it is a great blunder, what you can call, a great mistake. Why? Because if something goes wrong, so entire what you can call your entire project has to be wasted, what you can call. Yes, it has to be wasted, we can call. So because your efforts will be wasted when you find at the end that your design itself is wrong or your main functional requirement itself is wrong. So whatever the efforts you have done, if you identify at the end, so it is your what you call the waste of your time, resources, everything. So because of that, always testing has to be done in the entire life cycle there. Yes. So what is that? It says static testing is is done to find out defects during the entire development life cycle. What do you call this? What are the advantages? Yes. Incorrect specification and missing specifications can be found out at an early stage of development, and hence lot of rework is reduced. So first advantage is what is called incorrect specification. It's wrong. So you might have assigned wrong variables or some value may be missing. So that cannot be found out in dynamic testing that whatever the code is written, that will be executed in the dynamic testing that. But here some wrong specification or some data is missing or some logic is missing, that can be identified at the earliest, you can call that. Yes. So incorrect specifications and missing specifications can be found out at an early stage of development, and hence lot of rework is reduced. So hence mistakes which are what you can call can be identified at the early stage because of this what you can call. So your rework, suppose if you find out as it were at the end, so entire work has to be done once again, rework. So that will be saved what you can call. That is the first advantage. Next, incorrect design can be found early and hence life cycle time is reduced. Suppose if a design itself is wrong, then it can be easily identified then. So if you find out at the end, then what happens? Entire efforts will be wasted. Again, you need to do it from the beginning what you call. So your design which is wrong, if it is not identified at the early stage, then what happens? Entire process, your whatever the work done will be wasted then. So another advantage is that incorrect design can be found early and hence life cycle time is reduced what you can call. Next, third advantage is specifications can be checked against the code so that if requirements are not implemented, they are detected early. Here what you can do SRS, software requirement specification, the document is there with you there. So with the document, you can check whether all the specifications are available or not. Yes, that is another advantage. So specifications can be checked against the code so that if requirements are not implemented, they are detected early. So based on the SRS, you can check any of the specifications are, all the specifications are met or not. If few specifications left out, that can be easily implemented, but that is not possible in the case of dynamic testing. Why? Because dynamic testing, we check only the code. Yes, so we cannot check the specification. We cannot check the specification. What you can call this? Specifications cannot be checked. What you can call. So the specific requirements are missing. That can be easily detected very early in the case of static testing. What you call. Yes, somebody go through this.
Advantages of static testing. Static testing is done to find defect during the entire development life cycle. Advantages of static testing are as follows. Incorrect specification and missing specifications can be found at an early stage of development, and hence lot of rework is reduced. Incorrect design can be found early and hence life cycle time is reduced. Specifications can be checked against the code so that if requirements are not implemented, they are detected early.
Yes, so these are the few advantages of static testing. What do you call this? Some more advantages. What we'll see. It can be ensured that the code is as per requirements and coding guidelines and standards are followed so that maintainability of the software becomes easier. What is one more advantage? We can ensure that the code is as per the requirement, as per your, as I told you, SRS is there with us, software requirement specification document. So whether the code what you have written is as per the requirement and you are following the guideline, coding guidelines. So there are guidelines given for every language there. Some guidelines how you have to write, you would have studied or you will be studying there. What are the guidelines you need to follow them? Yes. What do you call some, like for example, main should be the top program. Then you may have a brace. I'm talking about the C languages. Then you'll be using one tab to write the declaration variables and so on. You maintain proper standards, what you call proper guidelines you'll be following. Yes, proper guidelines you are going to follow and standards are followed so that it will be easier for maintainability of the software become easier. Why? Because who has written the program, the author of the program, what is the name of the program, what you are writing, comments, especially comments should be written in the program so that it will be easier for maintainability. Whether the software is following the guidelines and standard and whether the code is as per the requirement, it is being written or not, you need to check it. So it will be, that is another advantage, what you call. Yes. As a result of the above, time, effort and money required for the total development of life cycle will be reduced and the productivity of the employees will increase. So what is the advantage of this? Well, to check whether as per the requirements, coding guidelines and standards are not. So if as a result of this, you can save your time, effort and money. Yes. So hence directly you can go for implementation, because now everything is correct. There is no mistake in that. Everything, all the requirements have been met. Yes, as it is according to the guidelines. If you are following the standards, then directly you can go for dynamic testing, what you call. So that is an advantage. So hence productivity will increase. So you can execute the program at the very faster rate, or your development will be taking less amount of time, because everything is ready and proper. There are no mistakes in the code. You're following all the guidelines. There are no missing specifications and so on. So this will increase the productivity, what you call. Yes, it is easy to find incorrect interface specification, interoperability specification. Another advantage is what is that? You can find out any interface specifications incorrect. Suppose you want to interface with some tools, or you want to interface with some other programming language. So if there are some mistakes in that, you can easily identify what you can call that incorrect interface specification. And interoperability, when you want to use the software for another operating system, interoperability you can call. So it is easy to find out that. Then it is easy to find out the missing requirements. So if any requirements are missing, that are also very easy to find out what you call. Yes. So these are also some of the advantages. Yes, some of you go through this. Someone?
It can be ensured that the code is as per requirements and coding guidelines and standards are followed, so that maintainability of the software becomes easier. As a result of the above, time, effort, and money required for the total development life cycle will be reduced and the productivity of the employees will increase. It is easy to find incorrect interface specifications, interoperability specifications. It is easy to find out the missing requirements.
Yes. So these are what you can call, we discussed about. These are some of the advantages of static testing, what we have discussed, what you can call. Yes. These are some of the advantages what you discussed. Yes. So the 7 advantages. So they may ask you to explain the advantages of what is or define static testing, or what is static testing, and what are the advantages of static testing. Something they may ask you like that for 5 marks. So you need to write definition of static testing and some 5 advantages you need to write it there. Yes. That is about your advantages of static testing there. Next is about your manual review. How you are going to do review there. What you're going to do? Review is nothing but check. Yes, you're going to check what are the things you need to check there. In static testing, manual reviews are the most effective mechanism to find out all the what you can call defects or errors. Yes, all the defects. So manual review are the most effective mechanism, or it is you can call method to find out the defects. The manual reviews can be done on the following work products. How we need to check the document, or you need to do test. Manual review is one of the method to do static testing, what you call. So what are the things we need to check there? So there are so many steps are there. This is what we are going to check. Like we need to check SRS document. First one is SRS document, design document, source code, test plan, acceptance test plan, test cases and test script, and user manual. We need to check all these things there. So we need to check the software requirement specification document, design document we need to check, source code we need to check, test plan, acceptance test plan, test cases and test script, and also user manual. All these things have to be checked manually there. No executing, without executing. These are all so your static testing is a manual. So we need to check whether SRS is right or not. Based on the SRS, we are going to do design. So whether design is right or not. So after design, so we need to check what you can call source code. Yes, whether any code is or any or specification missing, or some logic is missing, or some part of the program may be missing. That is what we check in the source code. From the design, we check the source code. Then test plan, whether the test plan is right or not. We need to check acceptance test plan, test cases and test scripts, and user manual. Yes, we need to check all these things there. So in this, we'll be discussing again for manual review. There are so many things are there again in detail, like what is the formal review process, what you call informal review process. Then there are walkthroughs are there, inspection, making reviews successful, and checklist. So there are different types of checklist. All these things we'll be discussing in this entire chapter. So manual reviews will be continuing in detail in the next class there. Yes. So if you got any doubts in this, so you can ask me here, or related to any other previous 2 units, you can ask me. It's fine. Any doubts so far? Are you following the things? Understanding the things? Yes. Any doubts in your previous 2 units? Yes. No doubts in previous chapters or units?
Sir,
Yes, tell me.
in second unit, what is regression testing?
Yeah, regression testing. What is regression testing? Can somebody tell me or define? Somebody else? Can somebody define regression testing? So doing the testing again and again. See, for example, once the code is sent to the testing, so tester will identify the bugs. Then again, he will send it to the developer. Developer will rectify that, and again, tester has to be tested. So repetition of the process, doing the testing again and again to identify the bugs, we call that as a regression testing. Yes, did you get it there?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Repetition of the task there. So once the developer with that code has come to the tester, he will test it. Suppose if there are bugs, then the file will list the bugs and send to the developer. Then developer will rectify that bugs and again send to the tester. So this process will be repeated, continuous. It's a cyclic process that is until all the bugs are eliminated. So that is what we call regression testing.
Sir, in the same unit, in the types of acceptance testing,
Yeah.
what is regulatory acceptance testing?
In types of acceptances, what is?
Regulatory acceptance testing.
Regulatory acceptance testing. Regulatory. It's in unit 2, no?
Yes, sir.
In acceptance testing, it comes. Yes, it comes in
Yes, sir.
acceptance testing. Just a minute. Acceptance testing. Regulatory acceptance testing, or it is also called as conformance testing. There, here the software may be required to conform to international standards or meet some statutory government requirements. There, that is what you call regulatory acceptance testing. Like for example, yes, like we need to follow some rules and regulation. Yes. So for example, we want to send our software to some other country, export, for example. So to do export, we need to take the permission from Government of India. Without taking the permission, we cannot send the things to other countries. That is one of the example I told, like that. So the software which meets some international standards, that is what you call regulatory acceptance testing. Yes. Like for example, in our case, we want to take a driving license. Can we take from our college driving license? Can we take?
No, sir.
Driving license of a 2-wheeler or a 4-wheeler. Can we take it? No. From where we need to take? From the regional transport office. They are the authority to give the driving license. Same case here. Any standards given by the bodies, they need to follow that. That is what we call regulatory acceptance testing, or we call that as a conformance testing. The software may be required to conform to international standards or meet some statutory government requirement. Like for example, nowadays our Government of India is giving some rules which all the social media they have to follow. like your Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram or Twitter, they need to follow some standards. If they don't follow, our government of India is going to ban all those social media. So they need to abide by that. So if that is what we call regulatory or acceptance testing. Is it clear? If they don't follow, government of India may ban all those social media apps. So they need to follow that. That is what we call regulatory or acceptance testing. This testing may be done at third-party laboratories or government laboratories. So you may do it in your organization. Usually it will be done by somebody else you can call. Yes, that is what we call third-party or maybe in government laboratories. That is what we call regulatory acceptance testing, or also called as conformance testing. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Other things? Okay then. If there are no things, we shall stop for today's class, and we shall see you again in the tomorrow's class. Thank you one and all. Bye.
Thank you, sir.